Both the prosecution and the defense resting their case today during day 2 of Jackson Vogel's jury trial, but not before he took the stand as his defense continues to push for that lesser charge.
Vogel charged with the killing of his cellmate Michael Laureano at Green Bay Correctional Institution last August. In a First Alert update, Drew Best joining us live in the studio with more on his testimony today. Drew.
Cami and Chris, as the only witness called by the defense, Jackson Vogel faced questioning about the reasons for the attack on cellmate Michael Laureano. During testimony, Vogel told the court Laureano had made sexual advances on 3 occasions prior to the attack. However, these allegations had not been brought up by Vogel at any point in the investigation before taking the stand today. Vogel claims he did not attack Laureano based on his race or sexual orientation. Investigators also observed Vogel's, quote, uncharacteristically relaxed demeanor following the attack. Prosecutors questioned Vogel on that today.
Even in the past, I've gotten angry, and it was like a calm comes on to me. I'm still angry. Just because you're calm while angry doesn't mean, it doesn't diminish your anger in any type of way.
If convicted of first-degree intentional homicide, Vogel faces a mandatory life sentence. We're expecting to hear closing arguments when court resumes tomorrow morning and expect the jury will get it after that. Cami and Chris.